How you guys doing? Everybody good? Everybody's awake, sort of? Welcome back. All right. So I actually changed up my presentation a little bit, sort of actually completely very last minute. So I wanted to, based on our conversations yesterday and getting to know you guys a little bit more as startups, I was trying to isolate an area where I think you could use, where I think we could provide maximum value. Okay. So I have a handout here that covers more broad questions about how to design a sales strategy and how to implement that within your team. So this is a more functional, tactical overview of how to think about sales, how to make sure you have enough salespeople to enter your market, how to plan thoughtfully, how to understand your customer segment and that kind of stuff, which is a more tactical, practical thing. But what I want to talk about today is actually how to tell a story, okay? Because at the end of the day, sure, you're selling a product or you're selling a service, but really the opening point and the way that you make a compelling, sustainable sales argument is that you tell a compelling story. People make decisions emotionally and they rationalize them afterward, okay? So you have to be able to catch their attention and hook them on something emotional and important to them, and you do that by telling stories. All right, so I want to talk about that. I don't have a clicker.
It's
here. I don't want to walk there. I know, so thank you. So, and actually I'm not going to get that far into the presentation, because I want to show you guys 3 advertisements, okay? These are sales pitches, each of them for a product or a company. And then I want to just talk with you guys about what is it that, and I think these are pretty compelling. You guys can decide, maybe you don't agree. But, and then I want to ask you guys, what do you think is compelling about them or not compelling? What approaches are they using? What similarities are there? And what differences are there? So can you guys show the video? And let's do 01, 02, 03. You can just do them in order.
What if the next big thing isn't a thing at all? It's lots of things. All waking up.
I think you got that mic might be on.
Becoming part of the global phenomenon we call.
Wait, can you stop it and start over? I can't hear it very well. Can you guys hear it?
Let's restart.
Yeah, restart. I think.
What if the next big thing isn't a
Maybe
thing
turn
at
that
all?
mic up.
It's lots of things. All waking up. Becoming part of the global phenomenon we call the Internet of Everything. Trees will talk to networks, will talk to scientists about climate change. Cars will talk to road sensors, will talk to stoplights about traffic efficiency. The ambulance will talk to patient records, will talk to doctors about saving lives. It's going to be amazing and exciting, and maybe, most remarkably, not that far away. The next big thing, we're going to wake the world up and watch with eyes wide as it gets to work. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Okay. And then just move on to the next one. Do all 3 in a row.
This is what we believe. Technology alone is not enough. Faster, thinner, lighter. Those are all good things. But when technology gets out of the way, everything becomes more delightful, even magical. That's when you leap forward. That's when you end up with something like this.
Okay. And then the third one.
The Chinese calendar said this was the year of the snake, but it wasn't. Sorry, snake. It was the year of the you. Think of all you've done. Think of all you've accomplished. Think about March. Something happened in March. I don't know what, but you know. You were the one who did it. It was your year. You're the one who made another human being. You're the one who hasn't slept in months and was walking around like a zombie. Like a big, happy zombie. You're the one who got married, who found that one baby? Did you buy a house? That's what taxes are, a recap. The story of your year. And that's why we make the tools we make. That's why we do everything we do. Because we think you should be the one to tell that story. We think you're the best person to do your taxes. Intuit TurboTax. It's amazing what you're capable of.
All right. Cool. You can go back to that PowerPoint. So, hello. Can you turn this other mic on for the audience? It's red. Hello? Yeah, there we go. All right, so now I want to ask you guys. So you guys are going to do this part for me. I'm going to wake you up a little bit. So did you like those ads? Were they compelling? Right, we had the Cisco ad that was, what if what if the world was all about the awakening of little things? So the next big thing was a lot of little things, right? And it was the Internet of Things changing the way that we live and operate. Lots of pictures moving, pictures of people, right? We had the Apple ad about the iPad 2, and then finally the TurboTax one. So what were those good ads? Yeah? Some of you guys you're gonna have to talk or nod at least. I'm gonna force you to do it, so you might as well start. So were those good ads? Yes, no?
Yep.
Don't really like for me they were too long. So for me they were too long. So I understand that probably they are good because they were produced with really high budgets and I can see from their they are from very reputable companies. But at least the first one for me was too long.
Okay, so maybe a little bit on the long side for our short attention spans, which is good. How other people, what do you guys think? Was there something compelling? Would you feel attached to the company or the product?
John, there are some kind of videos, they call them like a video trailer. Like for instance, when Twitter came to the market, they prepared a 2 minutes video where they explain what is it needed for. And actually they try to explain the problems that they are going to solve. And with this video, they are great. I mean, in case of emotion, you want just, looks good. But they do not really explain the problem. So I think there are probably several types of videos that we should use maybe in order to, bring the idea of our product.
Okay, good. They didn't really talk about a problem directly, which is a good point. But they did focus on sort of opportunity and an emotional attachment, but I think that's fair. I do agree that most good pitches begin with a problem statement, and then you can convert it into opportunities. You're right. So they don't tell the full story. These are isolated parts of the story. Somebody else, what else did you guys think about these? What was consistent across them? Were they like, how well do you understand the product, right? How prominent were products in any of these videos? Did you get a good sense for the architecture and the underlying engineering?
Not really.
Right, no? The user interface?
No.
Not really, right? So very little product description. But these are 3 of the most successful, high growth, enduring, sustaining success stories. Cisco, Apple, TurboTaxes, the default standard for taxes in the United States. I don't know if they have a presence here, but it is the only way that people do their taxes. Like 80% of people use it to do their taxes. So I think what's interesting in these stories, and I'm going to show you another video that will walk you through a specific framework and model, right? Whether you think these are perfect or not, I think the model is correct, is that you sell people emotion. Think of Apple, right? Apple can sell products with just a white background. It's like amazing how simplistic their ads are. There's virtually no description of the product or the details. That comes later, like it's on the website. You can go and look at the specifications, and they have to be good. You have to be able to rationalize your decision, but you make your decision emotionally. It's not made on things. This is, I would say, in my experience in general with Russian entrepreneurs, but also listening to some of your pitches, is one of the biggest challenges for it's really for any engineer-driven startup, but I see it here very clearly, is that you start with the product, and that doesn't work. It's not compelling. You could have the very best technology in the world, and you'll lose me in the second sentence. You get a very small amount of time to convince somebody that they should listen to you and they should care about your product and they should form a bond, and you have to do it emotionally. It is not possible. You will lose every time if you're selling technology specs. So you first have to hook them on the emotions, and then you have to convince them with the specs. You got to do both. You got to be Da Vinci. You got to be the best artist of your time and the best engineer. And I think that in general, I find the artistic element lacking in your pitches. So I want to emphasize that aspect here today. So let me now show you a video of somebody who can articulate this a little bit more, a little bit better than I can. And you can cut to the number 4, yeah. This is about a 10-minute video, so just sit back and watch.
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet, they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight? The Wright brothers beat them to it. There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery, and this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? As we said before a second ago, the recipe for success is money and the right people and the right marketing conditions, right? You should have success then. Look at TiVo. From the time TiVo came out about 8 or 9 years ago to this current day, they are the single highest quality product on the market. Hands down, there is no dispute. They were extremely well-funded. Market conditions were fantastic. I mean, we use TiVo as a verb. I TiVo stuff on my piece of junk Time Warner DVR all the time. But TiVo is a commercial failure. They've never made money. And when they went IPO, their stock was at about $30 or $40 and then plummeted, and it's never traded above 10. In fact, I don't think it's even traded above 6, except for a couple of little spikes. Because you see, when TiVo launched their product, they told us all what they had. They said, we have a product that pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, and memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking. And the cynical majority said, we don't believe you, we don't need it, we don't like it, you're scaring us. What if they had said, if you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, memorizes your viewing habits, etc., etc. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and what you do simply serves as the proof of what you believe.
All right. Cool. I don't know. Could you guys all hear that okay? That was all right? Okay, so let's walk through that. Actually, can you flip to this 2 slides down? Yeah, here. Okay, so just to like kind of recap quickly, right? The idea is that the vast majority of us start with what? And then we go to how, and then maybe we talk about why, but most of us actually don't even get there. But the fact is that people make decisions from the other direction. They make decisions based on why, and they rationalize that based on what. So you have to be good at both, but your story starts with why, not what. And so when you think of your business, you have to kind of reduce it to its elemental purpose. What is the problem you're solving? Why does it matter to me as a customer? That causes loyalty, trust, that causes emotional bonding with your product that makes me say, what are the features? People will buy Apple products without even seeing them. People will sleep in the streets and wait for the store to open so they can be the first one to get the product before they even know what it is, right? The features do not sell the product. The features justify that to them after the fact, but they love the concept. They love the idea that it's different and cutting edge and innovative and unique, and it's clean and simple. That's what people buy. They buy the concept, they buy the why, what it matters to them, and then later they get the what. All right? So again, just to recap from what he said, like for Apple, it was, the why is in everything we do, we strive to think differently, to disrupt the status quo, to change everything. We do that by designing clean, simple interfaces that'll enable you to interact directly with the technology the way that you want to. We happen to make good computers, right? And the beauty of that also is that it gives you this flexibility because now you can sell an MP3 player, you can sell all of these other products because you're not defined by what. You're defined by a value, by an orientation. It keeps you flexible. Whereas the example he gave of TiVo, I don't know if you guys had TiVo here, but TiVo was like a digital video recorder. So you would connect it to your cable TV, and it would record the television and enable you to pause TV, skip commercials, all sorts of other stuff, right? And they sold it on that concept. They sold it on the specifications, and it was hands down the best product. I mean, it had way better features. It stored things in the cloud. It enabled you to access it. It was a way better product than anything else that exists. But they basically don't exist anymore, right? And they sold the product specifications, and then other people can also sell those specifications. It's not unique. They didn't sell the value proposition to you as a person that is, this is why you need us. You need us because we represent something that you want. You want control. You want freedom. You want a certain emotion, and this product offers you that emotion, right? That is a powerful way to do it. So flip one more slide, and then I want to open it up for a bunch of questions and discussions. And you guys can disagree with this. I hope some people do, and some people, I just want to have a discussion and see where we end up. So one more slide down. Oh, sorry, I have the clicker. There we go. Oh. So this was like this morning for 5 minutes. I took an attempt to kind of put MassChallenge in it. We do this inherently, but I didn't realize it until going through this exercise. So we sell MassChallenge. I sell it to sponsors. We sell it to startups on why you should enter, right? We sell it to we have all these partners, the government, the corporations, investors, universities, startups, the media, and we always sell it the same way. We start with the why, right? We founded MassChallenge in the depth of the recession because we're convinced that society has become obsessed with short-term profit extraction, and it's ruining the world. Right? It's destroying you and my ability to live our lives in a fulfilling, meaningful way because it's all about some short-term quarterly profit, and that greed is destroying the economy, and it's making our products and our lives meaningless and unfulfilling. So we want to restore creativity to the soul of the economy, give people a meaning again in their lives, return our focus toward solving problems, creating lasting value for humanity. And in the process, we'll all get rich. Like there's a lot of money and jobs and growth to be created, but the reason is because the values are out of place. So how do we do that? We identify the world's highest impact, highest potential startups, and we connect them with whatever resources they need to launch and succeed immediately. Because if we shift power in the economy to the creative class that are high growth and have an impact on the world, that will change the world very rapidly. So basically, we help entrepreneurs to succeed and to become the dominant class in society. That's what we want. And so how do we do, like, what do? We run a startup accelerator, right? We run a large competition-oriented startup accelerator. So that, I think, is more compelling than coming out and saying, I run a startup accelerator in a competition, right? Because so do 1,000 other people. Like, there's nothing unique or compelling about that. But the fact that we do it because we have an almost radical evangelical desire to change the world in a really positive way, and that we're sincere about that, that actually touches people's hearts, and that means something. And we get sponsorships, we literally close $250,000 sponsorships without ever including a bullet list of what they get. They'll just write a check, and then they're like, oh, hey, by the way, internally they're asking me, like, what do we actually get in return for this? Like, do we run events, or like, how do we interact? Like, they don't even care. It's about the bond with the identity of what we do. All right, so that's one of ours. I want to open it up for questions, assaults, whatever you guys think, and then I'll pull this out. Actually, I guess we have this one up there, so that's fine for now. So what do you guys think? Does this resonate? Sure. Here, you can just use this.
Yes, this may be connected to how I perceived this initial advertisements. Don't you think that this reasoning, this why, is really dependent on a culture? So whys in those advertisements were not finding good enough for me, so I did not get them.
Maybe. So interesting. I don't know. So there's a question for the group, I think. Is the why that dependent on the culture? I think certainly some forms of its expression are, but at the end of the day, humanity is the same or very similar pretty much everywhere. So culture is an artificial layer on top of the fundamental person. If you had been born in New York or Nairobi or Shanghai, you still fundamentally would be the same person, have the same chemistry and the same physiology. And the culture is a layer there. There is a lens that you have to break through. But I think at their core, people are the same.
You brought up a really interesting point. I haven't really thought about it. But he's right. I think there is a fundamental thing, as you said, that unites us all. And then you basically have a different business proposition for each market, as you would do for your company, right? You don't go with the same strategy.
Yeah, you certainly tailor it. Yeah. You certainly tailor it for the culture, and there's going to be language and cultural barriers and things that get in the way. But I do think that fundamentally, I mean, Apple sells products everywhere, and they use a very similar structure and strategy. The concept, the fundamentals are the same, I think, everywhere. I think that Russians are sold on emotion just as much as Americans. I don't think that's a differentiating factor. Yeah, presentation might be a little bit different, but I think that's a layer.
Yesterday we've discussed an investor presentation, and what do you think? Do investor pitches are built on the same template? As far as I understand, most of them tend to be more rational, and I'm not sure that I should start my investor presentation with trying to hook his or her emotions.
So I absolutely think that you should start with the emotions. And then the fact is that you might have 10 slides and 9 of them are rational, right? So the majority, but you start with the hook is emotional, still, even for the investors, everybody. It's literally everybody. It's not like there are weak, irrational people that succumb to this. Everybody does. And that rationality, that layer of computation, is itself an emotional attachment that that's the right answer. So I still think that you do it, and we do it when we go out and raise money from the hardest people in the world. We still start with the emotional story, and then you go in and you say, we can prove with numbers and facts that this is the right answer. And then you have to be good at that. Like, you can't only sell on emotion. If Apple had crappy products, they wouldn't exist today, right? They wouldn't be a hugely successful company. But they wouldn't have sold the first unit if they weren't selling on emotion. So this buys you the right for further conversations, and then you have to prove that you're rationally correct.
John, I think it also depends how you present those emotions. Maybe it's not like you show pictures of hundreds of people crying, or maybe you are showing hundreds of people crying.
No, you have to explain the why. Like, why are you motivated? Who else? Somebody else. What? Like, tell me who's got a startup. Like, actually, why don't we? What's your name again? I'm sorry, I forgot your first name. Vladimir. Okay, Vladimir. Tell me what you do. Like, what's your startup?
Usually when I start showing my product, I tell that we help offline stores to survive their actually battle with with online shops. So that's why we do this.
Okay, so you're helping stores that are not connected on the internet to compete with.
Yes, usual stores. So we see that usual stores are losing this battleground, and we want to give them a powerful weapon to continue.
So
existing.
why does that matter? Why do you care about them? Why don't we just let them die?
Because it's, how to say, they're traditional. I like to have stores on the street. I don't like people just sitting at home and buying everything through internet.
So if you could define the emotion behind it, what is it? Why do you care about the traditional? You're helping to save the traditional.
Maybe yes, maybe
Right.
that's the point. But I don't know whether it is good reasoning for everyone. So it may be good for me, but.
But who are your customers? Aren't they the traditional? Mm-hmm. So won't they value that why?
I hope so, but this needs to be proved through.
So who do you sell to currently?
I sell to those retailers, to those who really suffer from this. So, and we found out that this is their pain point, and that's why we are talking about this.
So your sales pitch can be something like, you have a terrible problem. You're at risk of losing your entire business and livelihood. I love the traditional, and I am here to give you the tools that you need to compete against others. Your why is that I want to save your business because I believe in the values that it represents. And then you can convince them that you're a friend. You're bonding with them over that. And now you have to convince me, okay, that's great, I'm in. I want you to save my business, but are you going to be able to do it? How are you going to do it? What does the product look like? How much does it cost? What are the trade-offs? Right? But you can sell me on the why. So I think you have to like work backwards even more. You got to get it down to a value. There's a value behind it. Like, what is it that matters to you in the world? There are concepts or videos or ideas that when you think about them, like your eyes water. You get the shivers. It means like it touches you somewhere deep in your soul. Or there's like a poem that you love, or a piece of music that like really speaks to your soul in a way. That will represent that value to you. And if you can reduce your personality, it's not even your business. Like, put your business aside for a minute. It comes, like, good startups and good entrepreneurial ideas come from deep in your soul. They mean something to you at a deeper emotional level. If you can reduce it to 1 or 2 or 3 words, then you can sell anybody because those concepts exist in them as well. And now you can bypass their layer of rationality and bond with them very directly at an emotional level. That creates trust and loyalty, and now they're listening, and then you can sell them on the how and the what and get them to write a check. So what is it? Let's try as a fun exercise here for a few minutes. Like, what do you think? Go backwards. Like, what is it that you care about in the world that matters?
Maybe it's too difficult to prepare just to tell without any kind of preparation, but maybe I like I like the world itself. I like how it was before, how it used to be. Yeah, and I always. When I travel somewhere, I always prefer to look at either nature or something ancient, but not something modern. So
you like the traditional and pure,
yes, maybe
natural, organic. And so what are some like favorite movies or like what's a favorite movie that you have, or a favorite piece of music, or favorite advertisement or product?
Yes, maybe if telling about music, I like either good old hard rock music or or maybe even classical music. So it's not something modern, and maybe it's somehow connected to what I sell because I like traditional shops when I can come and see and touch everything much better than internet shops.
And are you loyal to traditional shops?
More or less.
Yeah. So you're safeguarding the traditional,
I think.
right? You
maybe-
love the classical, and so that ultimately is your pitch, and those are your customers. So they love it too. That's what they do for a job, is that they run a traditional store. And so your pitch is, I'm helping you stay in existence. I'm safeguarding your way of life, because I believe in the same way of life and the same value system, and I want to protect you against the hoarding marauders that are coming in and destroying this beautiful way of living, right? You're protecting against the Huns. The Huns are at the gates, and you're saying, I'm going to protect, I'm the Kremlin.
Yes, that sounds right, but I need some time to formulate this in a better way than I can do just.
You have to, like, I sat down, I mean, ours developed over time as well, right? That you feel it before you can define it, right? So you're right, it takes some time.
Yeah, that's right.
It's hard to put it in words, but you got to let that feeling emerge. And I sat with a piece of paper and I wrote out 100 different ways of trying to describe it, none of which really were correct. It's more like composing a piece of music than it is describing a business. You have to allow yourself to go to that more artistic place where you're just trying to express it and just throw words out, and you crumple them up and you get mad at yourself and throw it away, and you try and tell the story 100 times. But you have to get it down, reduce it to something pure and simple and direct and honest. And it sounds crazy, because when your first time you pitch it, when you'll understand it when you feel it. You'll get it. You'll know that it's right or that you're pretty close. And then when you first pitch it, it's scary, because you're pitching something unrelated to your product, right? Like, I pitch Renaissance. That's my pitch, right? And it's crazy. People will be like, oh, what do you do? I make a tool that helps people. It's like a fintech, financial technology that helps banks make money. I sell goods online. I have a product that does this. What do you do, John? I'm catalyzing a Renaissance. And they're like, okay, what? Like, that's not a thing. How do you do that? But you get their attention, and then when you explain it and you back through it, everybody thinks that the world has become too selfish and too greedy and too short-term focused. And there's a million examples in politics and in business and in so many different areas that are personal to that customer. So your first thing is you hook them on the emotion, which I think is the same for everybody. The expression of it is different. So if I'm talking about short-term greed, I think of Wall Street. To me, that's they're the enemy in my universe. This quarterly profits, no investment in the 10-year solution. It's all about what happened this quarter. I need a $250 million bonus. I need, it's all this selfishness, and you're like, God, the amount of value you could add to the world if you just redirected that attention and money and resources towards helping people instead of just buying a huge mansion in the Hamptons is appalling to me. It really frustrates me. So that's my expression of it. But other people could see it in a totally different light. It could be politicians that are not paying attention to society and are just hoarding value and not listening to each other, or the Republicans and the Democrats in the US that are just fighting each other for nominal bits of gain in the polls, to win over some stupid tiny sliver of the population by blocking all positive progress for our country and ruining the world for their own selfish, stupid purposes. There's so many ways that it expresses itself. That is customized to the location. That how and what vary depending on the customer. But the emotion is true for everybody. So everybody loves traditional things, right? Maybe to varying degrees, but everybody can understand that there's value in tradition and in the old stuff. I happen to love progress, but I also cherish going into some of the old churches and seeing the intricacy of the design and understanding how it existed in a purer, simpler time. So everybody will bond with that. All right, so that's a good one. Let's do one more, and then we'll just answer questions and stuff.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Sure.
I give a little thought this model, and what do you think about corporate sales? So basically, imagine you are trying to sell something like mobile learning to a learning director of the company, and if you approach that person with standard wide pitch, talking about how it's important to reach every your employee with to be in a pocket with your employee or something like that. So I think they're hearing that all the time, and I think it may irritate that person. And my personal experience says that when you are selling something with really clear why, and you just offering some kind of new way to reach that why, you just skip that why. So you are telling...
I disagree. I totally disagree. It's an interesting point, and this I'll open it for more broader discussion, see what everybody else thinks. But we've raised $12 million, most of it from corporations, and there's no return on there's no return on investment in us. It's a donation. We're not paying them back anything. And we do it all on the why, and we sell to the CXO levels. I think at the lower, it depends a little bit on your customer and how self-aware they are, whether they're going to be immediately receptive to it. But especially most of the people at the top will be aware enough of who they are. They've been challenged enough and gone through the ringer enough that they'll get it pretty quickly. And the other thing is that, so we pitch all the time on the why. And what you can do is you get people like if you tell it properly, if you tell the story sincerely and deeply and you mean it, like if it's true to your person, people can't deny the truth. Like the truth resonates. It's like beautiful music or something. It's an undeniable thing. When you hear something true and genuine, it hits you. It's impressive. And so people will sit mouth agape and be like, wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. What do you do again? Right? And they don't even know what you're selling, but they just get excited. Now you've got them in a place where you can pitch them and they're hooked. They're already hooked. Then you have to rationalize it. You can't sell, every corporation that we sell into, we explain to them why it's going to be beneficial for their bottom line, how they're going to make more money, what the exact benefits are going to be at some point. But we close the deal, frankly, before that. They're already hooked, and now they're just like, how am I going to explain this to my boss? I can't sell Renaissance. I don't know how to sell that. But I have to justify the expense to my team or my boss. And then so you have to give them the rational argument that they can do it with. But absolutely, so let's do you quickly. So tell me what you do again. I think I know, but for everybody's benefit, describe what you do.
Yeah, so basically what we are doing, is we are providing a really simple tool for recording live presentations. And those recordings are perfect for mobile learning. So as due to some specs, like file size, etc. And I believe the why for us is basically we have two whys. So one for consumer, and the second is for the e-learning director of the company. So the consumer why is basically staying productive every moment. So if you're the person who who hate losing a minute of your time to being unproductive of your time, here's how with the mobile learning you can spend that minute productive, and here's our product that you can use. Basically, that's why we are selling the content itself. And for corporates, we are focusing on that you are putting so much efforts into reaching your members or reaching your employees, and right now you have an opportunity to be in their pocket, and you surely need to try it with what do we offer.
Okay, those are still rational whys though. Why do you care? Like, this is hard, right? How long have you been doing this?
For a year and a half.
Okay, for a year and a half. And every day you got to get up. And how much are you rich yet? Have you made a ton of money off of this?
Nope.
Okay, so every day you get up and you do it anyway. So why? What matter? Like, why does this matter to you? Why do you want to do this? There's a ton of other things that you could do.
Yeah, basically the answer for me is consumer why that I tell you. So basically I am the person who hates being unproductive. Like when you're on subway and you are going to MassChallenge accelerator program and you have to be there for half an hour and it feels like time waste, etc. So that's why I am building something that
So that's where you can start your pitch, right? There's so much wasted time in life. We have such a short life to live. We could do so much more if only we had access to information at all times that could benefit us and make us more productive. I've created that solution.
Yeah, that
So I'm
sounds
helping
nice.
you be more productive as a person, and then your pitch to the corporations is, and this will make you a ton of money. You can bring productivity to people. They will love it. They will become stronger and more productive and excited, and they'll pay you money, and you'll be in their pocket everywhere they go. Right? So then you can escalate up to the product and how much people would be willing to spend for it. But you got to start with something like, when startups apply into MassChallenge, and I get so many pitches all the time, and I get lost in all of the numbers and quantitative this, and we're a better way to do this, and we're better. It's like, but the people that are almost crying when they pitch to me because they're so passionate. Like you know deeply, you can see like they're bearing their soul. Like, I can't not do this. It's too important to me. I love this so much. And then they're going to succeed. Because there's so many hurdles along the way that if you're not 100% like obsessed with your idea, you're going to give up, because it's not easy. It's not like 6 months now you've got $30 million and everything is coasting. It's brutal. You have to lay off best friends. You've got like terrible hurdles and obstacles along the way. And if you're not 100%, so I need to see when I am talking to a startup, like, you don't know how not to do this. It comes from outside of in the very depth of your soul, and you're committed to it, even if the idea is bad, that you're going to just keep going. And that way I know you'll pivot, I know you'll persevere, you'll push forward, you'll find the right people, you'll find the right resources. And at that point, I would be willing to help them. It's like, if an entrepreneur is willing to do the idea for free, then I would be willing to give them money. That's, I think in so many ways you'll find that with investors, with corporations, and it's risky, it feels dangerous, it feels crazy. Right? But I guarantee you that it works much more effectively. So I think later today, this is not exactly what Rishi's going to do for the workshop. Rishi's going to lead the workshop. But I would say weave this into your storytelling. Practice telling your story. And at networking and other things, start with a kind of a blanket emotional statement that doesn't tell the full story, and pause. Just say, it's terrible how much time is wasted in life. And I fixed that problem. I've developed a solution to fix that problem and make everybody more productive. Period. Don't talk about the product at all, right? And I guarantee you, the next question will be, what do you make? Right? They'll ask you. They'll engage you. I want more. But if you start with, I've developed a mobile app that can bring training and put it in your pocket, then they'll be like, yeah, whatever, dude. Go away. I got tons of other people that I got to talk to. Like, then it's annoying because you're pitching. But this is like fishing. You throw the hook out there, you hook them emotionally, and then they let you pull them back in, and they ask for more. There's another good way that I've heard this described from a marketing company in Massachusetts is they call it the one simple thing. You got to be able to reduce your business to a simple concept, and that's your hook. When you see somebody in an elevator, at a cocktail party, whatever, they grant you 10 seconds of time. Hey, what do you do? What do you do? You get like 5-10 seconds like granted to you. You have to earn the rest of the conversation. So that first 5-10 seconds, you got to hook them. There's got to be something kind of crazy about it where they won't just go, okay, that's great, next one, yep, okay, that's great, next one. Whoa, what? What was that? Renaissance, that sounds crazy. Tell me more about that. And then now you've earned 3 minutes. Right? So you get a 2 to 3 minute pitch, and you can tell them how, and then if they're still intrigued, then you can sell them on the what, and then they're ready to write you a check. So you got to escalate up, but start with something powerful and emotional. I think this is the most challenging aspect that I see for the Russian teams, and frankly all engineering teams. A lot of MIT students struggle with this too, is because you fall in love with the technology and the product. Fuck the product. It's not going to sell you. It's not going to sell. It will not sell. You sell emotion. Like Steve Jobs says, you sell dreams. I sell people dreams. And then there happen to be products and money that exchange hands. But you're selling people a concept or an ideal, a vision of themselves or of the world that's better. I swear to you, it works way, way, way more effectively. You still got to produce a good product. You still got to have better specs. All that stuff comes later, though, and that's after the decision is almost made. Okay? What else? Any other questions? Let's do maybe five. We started a little bit late, so I'm going to steal 5 minutes from the next.
Thank you. Yeah, John, this presentation is really cool. I mean, just now I started to think about why, personally, myself, working for Iridium and what I want to bring to people, to our customers. So maybe with your help, we can achieve this task for me personally. It's very important. So, yeah, in case of Iridium, what I'd like to say is that actually we provide to our customers a freedom to choose any hardware, any systems that they want to work with and to make projects with. Why? Because they simply can combine and get advantages from one system, get something else from another one, etc., etc. Bring it all together and do not, let's say, waste their time to configure this one and another one. And of course, they have to study a lot about this, and then, all of them, or most of them, are looking for something universal that they can just, learn how to work with Iridium, let's say, and with this tool, they get a freedom to, okay, I will get something from KNX, from Modbus, whatever. And for myself personally, why I'm doing it, for instance, in case of social media, we have Instagram, Facebook, here in Russia, Vkontakte, whatever. And myself, when I make a picture, I'd like to share it everywhere. And in Twitter, of course. So Instagram is a perfect tool for it. It's just one click and nothing else. You don't need to go to another. So probably it's a question about the time. So save your time, get the freedom that you, I think, deserve. Because our customers, they are really professional and they're on the high level of, of experience with system automation systems. So, but what I also like when their eyes, like, they like the freedoms that they get with Iridium, because not just different systems they can choose, but also they can create different projects. Hotels, for meeting rooms, whatever, just with one tool. And when they are starting to understand it, because actually Iridium came from smart homes, and most of them think, okay, it's for smart homes, what else can I do? And when we explain to them that you can use it for yachts, for hotels, for hospitals, and show them some showcases, they're like, wow, how is it possible, really? So let's make money with it, because their businesses now going is the following. When they got a customer, they provide them hardware, actually sell some hardware, then they have some, set up connections in the house or office, whatever. And all customers, they want to save their time, money, right? So they call to hardware manufacturer, ask how much is it cost, ask for the best price, and integrator cannot get much money because of this sales. But with Iridium, when they can, if you want to get this one, and there is a beautiful picture or whatever that they didn't expect to get, it will cost for you, let's say, some money. And they, we are ready to pay for it. Because actually, that's a tool that end customers get in their hands, and all of them, they like to touch, to play with something. So they don't care about hardware that's somewhere in box that are actually hidden, but this one is every time in their hands.
So you had me at freedom.
Right.
Like that's the like, there's too many barriers and constraints in the world. We've developed a system that enables you to freely choose the best components and systems. And then period, and you stop talking. And then you let the person go, wow, what kind of system is it? And then you say, and then you got to have real short, crisp sentences and it takes a long time to get that pitch down and crisp. And you got to sit and basically like write it out and then delete every unnecessary word and be real short, direct sentences that say, so you start with the freedom pitch. There's too many constraints and barriers in the world. We have developed a system that gives you freedom, that gives the customer more freedom. And then you say, what kind of freedom? Well, freedom to choose components and systems when they're building a hardware. I didn't fully understand, honestly, the end system, but like when they're to use multiple components from different hardware platforms so that they can build a better application or distribute their photos more freely online, et cetera. But get that down really, really crisp, and I could feel your passion when you talked about it, way more than if you were just talking about like it's built using Python and we've got like a more robust algorithm than anybody, that nobody gets passionate about that. You gotta be like almost scaring people, you're emotional and have like get red-faced when you're pitching, because there's already good products out there. Like it's already safer for a big company to go to Cisco or Microsoft or somebody else. So they have to have an excuse to pick you. Like you're the disruptor, the rebel, the weird outsider with only 3 people on their team that isn't known. So you have to like overwhelm them give them a real excuse to be like, I'm willing to take a risk on this guy, I like this. And that generally is you're almost shouting at them. Like you gotta be so passionate, and not in a mean, aggressive way, but because you're talking about something meaningful that matters, and they'll get it. I thought that was good. I like the freedom angle is definitely part of your pitch. Freedom, choice, those are things people love.
Yep.
Like fairness is also maybe something in there, right? When you get, it sucks to get, everybody hates getting locked into their mobile provider or their cable provider. It like sucks that I can't just switch and pick another channel that I want or something else. I'm like tied down, I'm committed to that thing. Everybody likes that freedom to choose and the fairness of having multiple options, so good. What else? One last question maybe, or comment? All right, do you guys get it? You think there's validity here, or you think this is crazy?
That was good.
Okay.
One question.
Okay. One question, yeah.
I'm a startup.
Okay.
Alex say I work for Skolko. And as you know, in Skolko we have more than IT. We have 5 clusters. But you said that in MassChallenge you also have other startups, not only ITs. And not only B2C, but also B2B, and maybe mostly B2B businesses.
Yeah.
Do you think that thing that you've described, the dream, can be applied to any startup?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'll give you maybe one example. If a startup develops the technology and hardware for inspection of, I don't know, gas pipelines, and their customer is Gazprom, and I guess if you haven't encountered the people from Gazprom, you can easily imagine them. They're sitting there all in their suits and ties, and they're not really inclined to be on a jolly side of life. You know, they're very serious. So what kind of dream those people can sell them? And that's question number one.
Yep, okay.
And the second question, do you think it will be appropriate with the people like this, with a target audience like this?
I think it is. So yes, definitely, I think it's appropriate. And you'll be surprised at how quickly they can turn if you speak directly to their limbic system, directly to this kind of inner brain. You'll see them shift, and you can see people like wiping tears away if you do it really properly. Like you'll break through the shell. So I don't know the business well enough to do it perfectly, but I would guess that there's a couple of angles you could sell. You can sell safety, right? If there's a risk of explosion, then you can sell, you know, like how many children die in explosions, how many, you know, imagine your child, imagine your family, imagine your, you know, your sister or your wife that is, you know, dies in a tragic explosion that could have been prevented. Like we sell safety and life, or it could be on a more financial basis. If there's incredible waste in the system, then you could say, think of how much waste there is and how much more you could do with that money. And why is it being simply wasted? Our system can save you that money and enable you to invest it in more meaningful projects that can help. So there's something around, there's always, but even if it's a businessy argument, you got to reduce it to a concept: safety, efficiency, value, something in there. Leadership. They might, you know, maybe it's like, wouldn't you know, shouldn't Gazprom be the world leader in efficient delivery? So you can sell them on just like, you're going to be the best on the planet. That's like a concept that they can be like, I would like to be the best on the planet. You know, that they can get behind, and it's still an emotional game.
Thank you very much. And a short one. Would you agree with the statement, like, if you search hard for that story, that involving thing, and you can't find it for your product, then maybe your product is solving non-existent problem?
Yeah, that, and yes, that can be. And so a lot of times, or maybe you just didn't search well. Typically, I think that if you've taken enough time and effort and poured it into your business, there's some kind of a problem for you. Like you have some kind of a value or reason behind it. It might not matter to the customer, or it might be indirect. Like you might be like engaged in an engineering task because of a social inability to be social with other people, like you're hiding from something, right? So but for you there's meaning, and it's still worth figuring that out. And you might at the end say, I understand my values now, and I don't want to do that shit anymore. That's not actually addressing my need. That was a distraction. But so typically I think there is a value there somewhere. But yes, it is also possible you find engineers that encounter a really cool technology, or like an advanced technology that is really elegant and pretty as an engineering solution, that they fall in love with and just keep furthering, and there's no purpose to it. And they're just building a bigger or a smaller maybe and more efficient, lighter product that actually nobody needs. So that it could be part of like figuring out like, this is actually stupid. Nobody cares about this value. So I think that could happen, yes. But generally, if you get it down to that value level, there's some value in that. Somebody will buy it and like it, and then you get that starting point, and then you can iterate and improve on all the features and other stuff, but you can hook people early.
Thank you.
All right.
Can I comment back on your statement? Just wanted to pedal back a bit in terms of Gazprom comment. Your statement implies that people are a little bit idealistic and that there is actually direct benefit to them personally. Do you know what I mean, John?
Yeah.
I think just the problem is the states are way easier. It's way easier to introduce your concept in the states where people are idealistics. Russians are also idealistics, but
Oh, come on, Russia,
the
Russia
system is
adopted
broken.
the communist experiment. How more idealistic can you be?
I just
right?
said,
We believe
no,
like the commonality of mankind.
John, that's what I just said. They are idealistic, but the system structured that way that it's really hard to push for those ideas.
Yeah, but this is the thing that kills me about Russia. It's so hard for me is this like pessimism and belief that things can't change. And the fact is that the Russians are people. Everybody's got a soul and has values and ideals and dreams, and you can suppress and cover them only so much. But if you really that's the beauty of the truth. And if you really can speak something blunt and true, it is undeniable for everybody. It breaks all of the shell, anything that you can cover yourself in.
It might be absolutely undeniable. The question is how to get it, how to scale that. You can say the truth, but if you say the truth and it doesn't get you anywhere and doesn't get society anywhere further, then it's great that you expressed your opinion, but you need to come up with a mechanism that helps you to make a next step. So we need to think about it.
I think this is really about the hook and opening somebody, and then you will have to demonstrate results and rational, reasons for continuing. So this is not a substitute for the rationality; it's an augmentation. And I think in many cases in the U.S. you sell too much fluff. Like there's no product and it's all style and all ideas. And even that, actually, you'd be amazed at how far you can go with no content and just style is like pretty unbelievable how successful that can be. But it's very hard to sell content without this emotional layer. So this is the starting point, and then there's a whole bunch of other tricks and tips, and like the handout has a lot more functional stuff on like how to build a successful sales team and how to size it and how much to spend on it and how to motivate them with money and non-money and other stuff like that. So there's a whole lot more than just this. But I guarantee you this will work in Russia.
I don't want to undermine it, but I think just because the society became so cynical, though people have the same values deep inside them, the best way to approach would be from the angle of why and emotions, but also through their direct benefit versus
there's both. Every sales pitch is going to be customized to the person. But here's the beauty: is even if they don't care about your values, even if they're like a raw investor and they're just simply looking for a return on their investment, you'll benefit from starting your pitch from the perspective of your values. Even if you just say, when I tell my pitch, it's personal. I'm not saying everybody has to care about Renaissance or everybody has to care that the world is selfish. I can just say, I left a high-paying, stable job, put my family and my kids at risk because this was incredibly important to me. Because I was incredibly frustrated. I was near depressed. It was horrific problem for me, and I had to go fix it. And now, even if you're purely interested in, you only want to be affiliated with something successful, you're that guy's not going to give up, right? He put his kids at risk. He put his livelihood at risk to go do something borderline insane, right? And now he's been successful. And then I can say, and I've got 5 billionaires on my board. We've raised $12 million. We're growing like mad. And now you're okay, rationally, it's going to work. I like it. Good, this kid's good. I'll join. Even if you don't care about my values. So you start with the values. It puts you in a position where you can express yourself with passion and energy and focus, and they probably will like your values, but then you do turn towards the rational, here's why it's good for you. And that will be different for each customer. You have to customize a little bit. Some of them want to climb in the hierarchy and become CEO. Some of them want press and media coverage. Some of our sponsors don't care at all about the startups. They never visit the startups at all. They want to meet the other sponsors. Or they have a branding PR problem and they want to be quoted in the media with our name next to theirs so that they feel that they're not so evil in the world, right? There's all different reasons, and you sell them ultimately what they want out of it, but they still get hooked on the emotion of it at the beginning. I guarantee you it will work everybody in Russia it works. It is
guarantee,
universal.
guys, take him.
It's a guarantee. Yeah.
He's
If it doesn't work, you weren't pure enough. That's it. You have to get deeper into your soul and tell the story more compelling. All right, let me stop there because I've eaten up way too much time out of the next presentation, which is going to be awesome, and I want to watch it too. So I'm done, and I'll bring up, is it John that's up next? Okay.